Welcome back to Eat, Sleep, Nerd. This is another one of our standalone movie review episodes where we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Thank you for the reverb, I guess is what you call that. So it's the second animated Spider-Man film we've had in a few years.
In the installment.
This is the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse. We actually all just got out of watching it. Like as of an hour ago, we have seen this movie. And so joining me today is Jason Summer, as always, over there in Washington, and Christian James across the table from me.
Across the tableverse.
You're right. Nice.
Josh is unable to join us for this, but he'll be back next week. Yes, it is very sad. But hey, this was a great movie.
Outstanding.
Well, first we have to talk about the fact that we went to see this during the day on a very sunny day, and how just weird it is to come out in the middle of the day with sunshine after a movie theater and the whole day ahead of you. It's just like, it's a weird feeling.
Yeah, it feels weird. Like I've definitely done that like early morning and just didn't know what to do with my day afterwards. Because it's like I go home, make dinner.
Right. Because movies are normally like the last thing you do for the day.
Yeah.
Generally. I mean, if it's a date, maybe not, but just.
I remember one time I saw a movie in the morning and went to work that night. That felt weird.
Oh, God. That must have set you completely off for the day.
Oh, yeah. It was not a good one.
Corey's like, can we talk about the movie, guys? Can we talk about
So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So, for those that are not familiar with it, I'm going to read a little synopsis real quick. Miles Morales catapults across the multiverse, where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. When the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles must redefine what it means to be a hero.
Heroes.
Are you just emphasizing all the big keywords there?
I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help you.
Is that what it is that he's doing?
Yeah.
So
enhancing.
It's the bold. It's like I put it in bold font for you on those words.
Thanks. I needed that today. So, how did you guys feel about this movie?
Man, it was just like a visual dream. Okay. Like it's like when you go to sleep and you're having that good sleep. Everything just seems so vivid.
No.
Please explain it to me. You don't have good sleep.
Yeah, right.
But like, it's just the artwork and like the love and dedication they put into this movie to make it like what it was. From the story, the dialogue, the artwork. Spectacular.
This is probably in the top 5 best superhero movies of all time.
Yes.
Really? You guys felt that way about it, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you not? Oh my God.
So, I didn't think that they can make this movie better than the first one. And they absolutely did.
It
was freaking fantastic. It seemed like a logical progression for the characters, for the story, even the animation. It was like a matured version of the last movie.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we had this really good idea last time. Now let's take what we had, improve the better parts, get rid of the parts that didn't quite work so well, and mature the process out. And it was so good. It was a visual just feast. It was an audio feast too. The music was fantastic, and the music played into the artwork as well.
They're
both artwork, but the audio art fed into the visual art and was amazing.
Yeah, and every single frame of the movie was so unique. I mean, like it's not just the art style by itself is what makes the movie unique, which it does, but within the movie itself, every single frame, they're doing something so just random and unique and special and creative.
And I just loved how
and it's not distracting.
Yeah, I love how they separated the different Earths.
Yes.
Like visually from Miles's
many S's there, but
into when we meet the other characters, it was just like it was a crazy process that you would like somebody would or like a group of people would think about like we either need to make this look different, or it was a conversation of how do we move forward from the last movie, like Jason said, and they hands down did that. Like the first movie was more like within the comics, and then like if you really looked at what the city looked like in Miles's universe, it was more, I wouldn't say based in reality, or like there were more like almost photorealistic type like atmospheres throughout the movie, and then you moved on to the other Earths, and it was just like goes from like paint strokes to just simple, just eye-catching
the
animation.
Legos.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then,
I saw that. I'm like, Corey's gonna love that. That was my thought when I saw that scene. I'm like, Corey's happy.
Yeah, and I was.
And like throughout the movies, like we watched, like Corey is a diligent note taker, and it popped up on the screen, and I was like, "Ha!" And I turned, he was taking notes. I was like,
notes.
And I was like, "Yeah, he loved that part."
So
I will say, yeah, go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, no, you go.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, even art aside, looking at this as a Spider-Man film, it did it so well because I think, especially in Tom Holland's first two movies, what are they called? Homecoming and Far From Home. It kind of got away from what made Spider-Man as a character so special. Not that those movies were not great Spider-Man movies, they were, but what No Way Home finally worked into Tom Holland's Spider-Man is that Spider-Man's a tragic character. Like his entire life is surrounded by tragedy and losing people and having to deal with the balance of being a superhero, but also a person and like outside of being a superhero that's dealing with all of this drama and heartbreak and stuff. And this movie did that really well because, halfway through the movie, and we'll say this for like the second half of the episode where we're talking spoilers, it deals with finally embracing that Spider-Man has to go through a lot of loss.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad that they worked that into this movie because it made it so much heavier and so much more meaningful. It wasn't just like a spectacular eye-popping thing just for eye candy. Like it was actually like the story itself was heavy and meaningful.
Yeah, and when what we saw when they were explaining that, they call it canon, which we all refer to meta. It's very meta. It's like these are canon points that have to happen for Spider-Man for his arc to occur correctly, like losing Ben Parker, like if Gwen Stacy's part of the story, like losing Gwen Stacy or losing her father, those kinds of things. And what they showed was it had to happen in every universe, in every dimension, that these things had to happen. So let's real quick, I want to talk about all the different Spider-Man variants. Like I know some of those exist in comics, like they have their own comics, like one-offs, two-offs, maybe a series or something. But there were so many different ones, and they're each wonderfully different in their own way. Crazy, some of them crazy, but they also work.
Yes.
Right?
So
yeah,
let's just go ahead and use that to get into some spoilers. So if you've gotten this far into our video, obviously we like the movie. We love the movie. We highly recommend it. But now we're going to get into some spoilers because we want to talk about some of the details of the movie. So if you have not seen it yet, stop here, go watch it, then come back because we have so much to talk about.
Really a lot.
So since Josh is not here, I'm going to raise the spoiler alert warning. Spoilies. They're incoming.
Interconnected spoilies.
Yes.
Oh, that just keeps going. All right. So, let's get into spoilers. And so I think, obviously, like you're mentioning, the big thing about this movie is all of the various Spider people throughout comic history and television shows and movies that they worked into this 2.5 hours. So what were some that actually popped out to you, Jason?
So the Lego one, of course, Spider-Punk, which had a bigger role than I thought he was going to.
Oh man, let me. I have to interject this little point.
Yeah.
So Corey, is it a hot toy?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. What
Is
you have a figure? You have Spider-Punk, right?
He has a Spider-Punk figure.
Yeah.
Those are not hot toys.
Statues.
But yeah, those. Yeah.
He has a Spider-Punk statue, and around the time I was coming over, I finally moved to town doing the podcast. I was like, man, I've never seen the Spider-Man before. Wouldn't it be cool to actually see this Spider-Man? And then a few months later,
And then
boom, we get
you spoke it
Spider-Punk.
into the universe. You spoke it into the universe. That's right.
They probably already talked about it like a long time ago. But
don't
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Spider-Punk was probably my idea.
Yeah, right,
Sure.
right. You should get some royalties for that.
That totally makes sense.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So Sony reach out to Christian and pay him his money for that.
Yeah. Give me my 5 cents.
Right. We also got obviously pretty much every Spider-Man you can think of. We got Scarlet Spider. We got
we got Spider-Man 2099.
Well, yeah. So yeah, played by Oscar Isaac. He
Mm-hmm.
was essentially the antagonist of the movie, which is weird.
Right.
But we had a bunch of awesome cameos, like just very quick things. We had the spectacular Spider-Man show up for a couple of seconds
from the 60s, right?
From like the 2015s.
Oh wait, no. I'm sorry, but they also had like the original cartoon one from like the 60s or 70s too show up.
Yeah.
I thought that was the one that you were talking about. Okay.
No, I'm talking about the Spectacular Spider-Man. It was an animated series, probably like the most critically acclaimed series that aired about 8 years ago.
Was that the one with Aerosmith? Did the soundtrack?
Aerosmith.
Yeah, Aerosmith did a version of the Spider-Man theme song for one of the series.
Offhand, I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, so actually, I just have it pulled up. Spectacular Spider-Man was an animated show that aired for 2 seasons, 26 episodes, back in 2008, 2009.
Oh, wow.
And
it may not be the one I'm thinking of then.
It was. Everyone was up in arms when this was canceled because it was so highly regarded. So it was nice to see him like show up real quick.
Yeah. But who else did we see show up?
So you lost your crap when he showed up.
I forget.
Childish.
Oh, come on.
Oh. They were still talking about Spider-Man. But yeah, when
I can't think of his real name. What is his real name?
Donald Glover.
Thank you.
Donald Glover showed up.
That part. Yes,
the Prowler.
As the live action version of the Prowler.
Holy crap. Yes, we finally came back around.
Never actually got him in his actual movies with Tom Holland yet, but here he is.
But and it also took like another studio to bring him into a movie. And it was an animated movie. And it was cool that they made the live action him be there. And he was in this suit and stuff like that. And I was like, thank God. So maybe
Christian yelled out loud when he showed up.
That's really funny. That's cool.
Because it was like a one-off thing. Because I think Into the Spider-Verse came out, and then which one was he in? He
was in Homecoming.
He was in Homecoming.
Homecoming. Yeah. And it was kind of like just a one-off thing, even though it was like a long
he
scene.
just offhandedly mentioned that he had a nephew named Miles.
Yeah.
Right. Which is why he didn't want to buy the upgraded gear, because he's like, I'm not trying to escalate stuff,
Yeah.
And
I'm just so glad to see him back.
Yeah. We also got movie cameo shots from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
They were everywhere.
Yeah.
And like in the little hexagonal webs.
Yeah.
You'll see like little scenes from every one of the movies. And I was like, I was wondering if they would ever show Tom Holland's movies. They were like really small, but I mean, he also had a thing about that.
So rumors suggest that he does show up more significantly in the next movie, Beyond the Spider-Verse. So,
which I really thought, because they changed the title, because it used initially the title was going to be Part 1, right? Part 1 and Part 2, and I thought that they were going to kind of change the story because of it, because they just changed it to Across the Spider-Verse, and they didn't. I don't think they changed the story because it is Part 1.
Yeah, it very much leaves off on a cliffhanger, which is pretty unique nowadays.
Yeah.
Like,
we had an audience member when the credits started rolling. Are you serious?
Yeah, like she yelled,
Like-
"Are you serious?"
Like, it's okay. We've been here for nearly 3 hours. You should have expected that at this point.
Yeah. And I guess if you've been following along with like a lot of the Powerful movies, that stuff happens all the time.
Right.
We're okay.
In fact, I mean, but this movie, not a scene was wasted.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Like everything was pointed, everything was deliberate. The dialogue, like there wasn't anything that you could cut. Not that I thought. Now
Yeah.
I maybe after watching it another 5 or 6 times, which I'm probably going to, maybe I could
for
find
sure.
something. But it was just one of those movies that just seemed so well put together. And like you were saying earlier, Christian, like clearly the people that were involved, they loved this movie. They loved the art. They loved what they were doing, and that was evident with this Across the Spider-Verse, or is it Into the Spider-Verse?
Across
Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah,
The first one was Into. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
so just going through some of my other talking points. So just the intro, like the pre-title sequence, like entire prologue, I guess you would call it. Miles was nowhere to be found. It was all focusing.
I also
on
knew you were
Gwen.
happy about this, Corey. Yes.
It was filled with drums.
Right.
So cool.
Right.
Yeah,
Drums.
I was gonna make the comment. It was like, is he gonna talk about how she was using traditional grip on a drum set?
That's fine. There's famous drummers that do that.
Yeah, I knew that as a point, but I also know drummers
She was
that
killing it.
find
She was-
problems with that.
She was killing it.
Oh, she was.
I also like that she used her drum to hide her Spidey outfit.
Yeah, I
Right.
also made a comment about how it was just tossed in there. And, I figured that it was like folded or something. Like, no, it could just get
Well, I
wrinkled.
was thinking as I saw her do that, I was like, wait, that's like the perfect place to hide something. Because anyone that knows a drummer, if you touch their drums, they're going to lose their crap. So,
Yeah.
she knows her dad's never going to touch that drum, especially opening it up.
Yeah,
Like, what reason would he have to open up her drum?
be a stepbrother situation.
So, yeah. So, perfect hiding spot. Definitely going to use that in the future.
Well, now you
No,
can't
but
because you
I
just
just-
told the world.
Shh. They don't know where my drums are. But no, I love that the first 10 minutes of this movie, it was all about Gwen. Like, it really emphasized how important she was to the story. And it gave her storyline, like her subplot, some emotional weight with how she's, her relationship with her father. So, and that actually came back around later in the movie.
Oh,
I
yeah.
liked how, in the first movie, I think, unless you, like, I don't know the stories of the other spider people. I don't know all their stories. So for me, when she said that she lost her Peter Parker, I thought that she lost a Spider-Man in the first movie. And it turns out, like, they show what really happened to Peter Parker, and he essentially, in her universe, turned into the lizard, and she ended up killing him in a fight, not realizing it was Peter Parker. So it was the same animation at the very end of her over Peter Parker, but you thought it was, in the initial movie, you thought it was a Spider-Man. And I liked that that flip. And I was like, oh, that's pretty
and
good.
speaking of Gwen, like
Yeah.
that again with the storytelling, like everything just came back right around when she first went to go see Miles, and they were sitting on top of the building or upside down on the building, where she was just like, in every universe, Gwen Stacy always falls for Spider-Man, but sometimes it never really works out, and it didn't work out
Yet.
Yet.
That's
I
a
mean-
whole other movie, man.
I mean, yeah, true. But I was like, oh, I love how that worked out in the movie sense.
Speaking
Like,
of that
it's
little
still in the
scene,
universes. Didn't work
speaking of
out.
that little scene, did it seem to you that it looked like they were sitting on the bank of a river overlooking a lake when it was actually the skyline of New York upside down?
Yes.
I was too distracted by wondering how the blood was not rushing to their heads. So I did not notice that.
Oh.
But.
Which, I mean, I probably like my vision was going out because we were upside down for a very long time. But with the animation, I don't know if you could tell, but like in their faces, because they were upside down, their cheeks were more towards their eyes.
Yep.
So their face
they
shape
looked
was a
more,
little
they looked
different.
fuller. The cheeks looked
And I
fuller.
was like,
yes.
Attention to detail was awesome.
Attention to detail.
Yeah.
That is.
Well, now we have to go back and see if their faces are a little redder or darker. Seriously, I mean, like maybe it's not something I look for. It didn't even cross my mind to think about that, so I don't know.
Well,
But-
so speaking of detail, so obviously, this movie does a great job of making it feel like a comic book with all of the art styles and stuff. But also just the little like comic book
that was
definitions
new.
that show up in the corners and like all that stuff. Just those little additions to make it feel more like you're just watching a comic book play out was awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
I have one qualm.
Okay.
One qualm.
Okay. I have a couple.
When they're in the museum fighting the
the Da Vinci vulture.
I know what he's going to say, and it was definitely
throughout the whole fight. Why were there still people in the building?
How did they were in there for like half an hour? How did they not get out by the time this battle was over?
Why would you need to watch this fight if there's stuff falling from like 50 feet in the air?
Okay, all right. So remember, it's called Flight or Flight. So if people, sometimes they get so scared they don't do anything and they just stay there. You're frozen in place,
shock, man.
The entire fight, they were saving people that were like, I understand the people that were on the upper levels, but on the ground level, there was a crowd of people they still had to save and get out. I don't understand how that happened. Like fight or flight or not.
Yeah.
Hey man, if there was no one in there, there would be no reason for them to like save people. There's
no reason for her dad to stay there.
Yeah, I'd rather just see like the fight. That's mainly what it was about.
So my qualm is actually a qualm that a lot of people are having. Why are we saying qualm? One of my cons for the movie. This is actually one I saw blowing up on the internet, and I was like, surely it's not that bad. But very first scene, like the intro with the drums and Gwen's giving her voiceover, I noticed it pretty significantly. At times, the dialogue is extremely hard to hear in this movie because the music's outplaying it. And it's not just like a theater setup. Like even in nice theaters, the dialogue is being blown out by the music.
A lot of people are none of that problem. I had like no problem.
Maybe some theaters are doing it better, but like in that first like intro scene where she's like giving the voiceover while she's playing the drums, I couldn't hear a single thing she was saying.
Oh, that's man, it was so good. I'm sorry.
A lot of people are like saying they need to go re-edit this and submit a new copy to the theaters because it's pretty bad. So
I mean, there's also people that have like different auditory senses. Of course, you being a drummer, I could also probably theorize that you were paying more attention to the drums than the voice.
No, I was trying very hard to listen to what she was saying. I couldn't understand what she was saying.
Yeah, I mean, I understood it.
No,
that's right. So it's gory.
Hey, I'm not the only one. I'm speaking for the masses here.
I didn't know we were in church. Oh wait, wrong masses. Sorry, my bad.
All right, going through my other notes. I mean, a couple of little Easter eggs that we noticed. When Miles showed up to his dorm room, his friend, I forget his name, was playing Marvel's Spider-Man, the PlayStation game.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
completely missed that. Yeah. That's fun. Are those my Nikes?
Yeah. And then the last thing I guess I just want to talk about is all of the revelations towards the end of the movie, such as realizing that he was quote unquote the original anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the reason the universe started breaking because he was not ever supposed to become Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, the whole third act was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Which is so awesome for an animated movie. Like those types of like twists.
Yeah.
Don't really happen very much in this form of movies.
And again, this goes back to me saying that this is like a logical progression and maturation of this universe, these characters, or these universes, I guess would be the better way to put that. Yeah. So I was the entire movie. I'm just sitting there, just in awe of the movie. Like I was like, this is a visual feast. Oh my God! When they brought in the violin or the cello towards the end, like I don't know what it was, but it was so perfect. And like when she was finally able to tell her father about who she was, like the watercolors started, she's crying, and in the background the watercolor artwork is like dripping and running in the background to match her crying, her tears. And I'm like, oh my God, it was so wonderful. And at the end of the movie, I actually teared up because of just how good of a movie I ended up just watching.
Yeah.
It was just so good.
Yeah, and like and like with the themes in the third act, it was crazy because like they're telling Miles about what he's done, and then he got bit by a spider from a different universe, and he tries to go home,
But
and
he
you
goes
see the back and forth between him and Gwen. You're like, okay, she's listening. She's probably like, oh, she's listening to the moment he's telling her mom, blah blah.
Yes.
And then the twist happens.
All right, did
And
you
then
guys
you're
not
like,
see
oh
the
my
twist
God.
coming?
No.
Well, no,
Oh.
because they set it up so perfectly where
Well, no, because when he's in it, it says number 42. Like when he's getting ready to be sent, it says 42. And I'm like,
see, I missed
uh-oh.
that.
Yeah. I remember in the beginning of the movie when they were talking, when Gwen was doing the voiceovers, you saw the spider and they focused in on 42. And
Well, I saw it in the beginning. Yeah.
And I was like, what is that about? And they kept bringing it up. And
Right.
I didn't think about the universe that Miles was actually from.
Yeah.
It was
I was like, cool.
6-1. Where is he from? Which one is he from?
I don't know.
Anyway, but when the weird creepy spider thing was detecting where he was from, I knew, like as soon as it registered 42, I'm like, oh, they're not going to send him back home. They're going to send him to the wrong universe.
I missed that.
I knew it. I was like, oh no.
I was so engulfed in the movie, I did not even catch that. And then like right there afterwards, you're like, oh, cool. He's in the wrong universe. And you see his uncle walk through the door, and you're like, oh my God, what's about to happen?
Yeah, but like they set up that twist so perfectly. If you miss that one little detail, because he's back in the room that looks familiar to you, his mom walks in like it's nothing special, and you see Gwen, you think she's outside his window listening to the conversation. Like they set it up so perfectly.
Well, even knowing, it was still a good scene to me. Like, I mean, it didn't ruin it for me. Yeah. I was like, oh, she's gonna be disappointed.
And there was just like back to back reveals, because he's in the wrong universe. His uncle's alive, and then you see that universe's Miles became the Prowler.
Yeah, which was awesome.
Right,
which was awesome.
Yeah,
and so me and Corey both laughed, like when his uncle threw on the gauntlet and then like punched at him, and you saw the stuffing spray, and I was like, oh my God, he killed him.
Right, I was like, no, they didn't just kill him, did they?
I was like, bro, not like this.
Not like this.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then it was just, but apparently in the middle of the movie, when the accelerator explodes like the last time in India, and he started seeing his future, you could see the Braden Miles in one of those flashes.
Really?
But it was like from the back.
Okay, but you saw it. You caught it.
I caught a little glimpse of it, and I was like, huh.
That's cool.
That's wild.
Okay.
Those little details that they put in.
Yeah, I'm sure if you were to go back and watch this movie again, you'd see a lot more.
I'm probably going to do that.
There was so much happening in every single scene.
Yeah, I love how none of the artwork looks completed. Like it looks intentional. Like everything looks intentional. Like, but none of it is like pristine. None of it is clean, covered, erased lines. Like everybody, like I was looking at Spider-Man 2099's character, and like he had like a little like X on a cross on his cheek for like a drawer, like a artist reference point for like this is where the cheek goes, like just kind of hovering over the skin. And I loved those little details of like not quite completed, but it's also deliberate. And
that's like the spot I noticed that you could see his drawing exoskeleton when he loses his spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's so neat. I just loved every single bit of the art in this, because it was just like, what is that show that you told us to watch? The Love and Robots show.
Yeah, Love, Death, and Robots. Yes,
got 50 different artists, and it was just like, go after it.
So
I love it.
Indian Spider-Man was not a Spider-Man I realized I needed. But
oh, exactly.
I was
like the rest of the time I was spending, I was like, who can play this in live action?
Yes, Spider-Man India. Yeah,
Spider-Man India. You're right. It was and okay, so you say that he's in India, but I'm wondering if it's actually just there's an Indian influence in New York where New York would be.
Oh.
Like and they called it Mubatan or something like that, which I thought was like a spin on Manhattan.
Yeah, Mumbai and Manhattan.
Yeah, so I actually thought that they were in the location where New York would be, but like a different history played out.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if that's where they were. So anyway, I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, that was really wow.
Who played Spot?
Oh,
I'm trying to find it on here.
Jason. Jason. I know who. Segal. Jason. No. Jason Schwartz.
Schwartzman.
The guy who played the head elf in Santa Claus.
Schwartzman. Jason Schwartzman.
Schwartzman. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I recognize his voice too. I'm like, who the heck is that?
But all right, so let's go ahead and get into our final thoughts and score this sucker. Unless you guys have something else you want to discuss from the spoilies.
I had a thought in my head. I was going to try to reference Miles.
Good place for thoughts.
And Tom Holland. I can't remember.
They did very quickly reference Tom Holland's Spider-Man when Spider-Man 2099 shows up. He says in that whole Doctor Strange and that
right.
kid from Earth 1999 or whatever.
Right.
That was referencing No Way Home. So
5099, 5199, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So let's real quick though, I want to talk about how the fact that all the spider people were quippy. And it was funny as heck. Like
yes.
It wasn't like none of it was out of place. Like, and because they're all I know, they're all quippy and they're all like, and so each one of them like they're throwing shots at each other. except for Oscar Isaac's Spider-Man, where he's just trying to hold it all together, and he's like, "I know, okay, fine." He's like the dad like, with a bunch of kids.
Peter B. Parker, who just like, "Hey, we're supposed to be funny."
Right.
And like at the beginning, yeah.
So that was enjoyable. Just these little throwaway lines throughout the movie, which always landed. I was
yeah, it's funny we haven't mentioned that. Like this entire movie, a lot of it was pretty funny. Like it was still a comedy. Like
it's heavy, but it's like life, Life is funny, and we use humor to get through some really dark parts of our lives, and dark things that happen to us. Life is dark. Life has some serious downs, but we find ways to put the positive spin on it most of the time. I think that's what this is reflective of. Is there's some darkness, there's some sacrifice, there's some tragedy that they're going through. It's just how do you come out on the other side? And sometimes it's just that humor, and we're just dealing with like, okay, this is how we're rolling with it today. And that's, I think, is reflected pretty well in this movie.
Yeah. And okay, one more thing. The train scene.
Okay.
So
you're talking about at the end of the movie, the train scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
He has him pinned down, and then like he puts his hands on his shoulders.
Mm.
And he said that throughout the whole movie, he's figured some of his powers out, like the electricity thing,
mm-hmm.
and like he's able to steal powers or steal his energy, or whatever. I forget how he described it, but I was like, that's amazing. Like, I wonder how they're going to expand on that.
Yeah, he can like charge up.
Yeah, especially when he was in the bubble and he just broke out of it with his hands.
Yeah,
and the electricity.
Did you see Spider-Punk tell him, like, remind him to do the whole palm? Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was like, he is an anarch. He's like a true punk. Like, he's a punk. He's like, like, he's like, why are you even here? He's like, I don't know. And then he checks out at the end of everything. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah. What's her name?
Gwen?
No, the other one.
Spider-Woman?
Spider-Woman? Yeah, we'll say the Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
She was like, he was like, what's his name? Hobie?
Yeah.
Hobby?
Yeah. That was Spider-Punk.
Yeah. He was like, you're not even helping. I was like, good.
Yeah.
And then another thing with the animation, like the way they made him look
He looked different.
He just looked different from anybody else.
Yeah.
It was like that patched together like artwork from back then, where he was such a rebel and things like that. I was like, I love that.
Yeah. All right, let's score this sucker. Obviously, it's just 3 of us. Josh is not here, so we're not going to count him, obviously. So I'm going to kick this off, and I think I know where all this is going based on this conversation.
Probably, yeah.
I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. I'm just kidding. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Liar!
5 out of 5. It would be hard to make this movie any better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you can improve it. So, yeah, 5 out of 5. Definitely highly recommend this one. Who's going next?
Jason? I'll go. I mean, while I was looking up the voiceover actors, by the way, on IMDb, this has a 9.1 on IMDb, which I don't often see. So I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Can't recommend this one enough. Perfect follow-up for the first movie. And I absolutely love how they incorporate all the other iterations of Spider-Man throughout the ages. It's excellent.
Yeah,
definitely. I find like a little tidbit about the movie is that the first one, Shameik Moore that plays Miles and Haley Steinfeld never saw each other while they did all the voiceovers in the first movie, and I was like, that's weird.
that's pretty cool.
Welcome
I mean,
to
like
COVID.
scheduling and things like that, and I'm like, I get it. All right, fine. And they finally came together for this movie to actually, look at each other while they're saying those very emotional lines and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's really cool.
1 out of 5.
Trying to think. 5 spikes on my head out of 5.
All right.
Excellent. Yes.
Well, if you cannot figure it out, that means we're giving Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse from Eat Sleep Nerd a 5 out of 5. It's as good as you can get. It's all you can ask for in a movie.
Yeah, it was so excellent.
It's so good. So good.
And you won't have to wait too long for the next one, unless it gets delayed. Beyond the Spider-Verse is coming out March 2024, so less than a year from now.
So it's already done, essentially.
You can hope.
Yeah, I feel like they did it all together and just was just like, we'll just release them.
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Nowadays,
no, it will make me happy. I'm pretty sure.
It's true. Yeah. But I mean, if they're going to step it up from this movie, they're going to have to do something special.
Everyone dies.
Bro. Wow.
Well, see, he already said, like, I know how powerful I can be, and now I can beat him. And I'm like, he's going to need a reality check. He's probably not going to be able to save his father.
Or
he is definitely dying. Yeah.
Or it's going to turn into like a Highlander situation where you have to take out all the other Spider-Man.
There can be only one.
Powerful.
That'd be something.
Oof.
Yep.
Gwen
you have to cut off their arms at the web shooters.
Yeah.
But yes, obviously we'll be talking about that one when it comes out next year. But in the meantime, make sure you go watch this movie. You will not be disappointed. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure you click the subscribe button.
Thanks for spending time with us.
Leave some comments, share us, and stay tuned for more videos and podcasts.
Well, not us. Share the stuff. Not us. You can't share us.
All right.
I mean, you can probably share us. I go for like 5 shares.
5 shares. If Christian were a stock,
$1,000 a share.
Bye.
Make sure you eat, sleep, nerd. Bye.